celebrates its first birthday on 11th March 2024. The management of
Madi TV Parane Vozodri E
I don't really just care. I wanna be with you. And no matter what they say I could be with you. I don't really just care. I wanna be with you. Ana zumpada maita tate, 'cause I know we're gonna be buried kanina one day. Kambe kurus puyut hajate kulutate. Me I know we're gonna be buried kanina one day. No matter what they say I could be with you. I don't really just care. I wanna be with you. And no matter what they say I could be with you. I don't really just care. I wanna be with you. They say you're not my type. We got differences, but I know inside my heart I need your presence, baby. Ishalaita indugurus, oh my dugurus. Shana ibuita, ishalaita my dugurus. Santa suru, mana suita. Ishalaita my dugurus, Santa suru, mana ibuita. Ishalaita my dugurus, Santa suru, mana.
Madi TV Parane Vozodri E Madi TV Parane Vozodri E
Karibu angini chidumasi angi chiditu achiri sila kamari TV kamaru ni Garrison amudai meji angini program losandi tuaze adidi briefly macha losi tani diba mzerigako ma tani diba yuria ganga losangini house ne madila sendo amadi ekore studio ari kamari kijo pare hadosi arma angini diba nanje endo amadi mua amudi ane mariko oni maritiko katanje mariti sipe di selosi jolosa angini amaki warakadi guole na mebu ausini masa kwa laka kana dibenze au siniba kunidano tonga mata hizo rudiga. Cecilia, welcome to Madi TV. I was briefly trying to give our audience the background about yourself because you are not a Madi, so therefore the conversation is going to be based in English today. Our Marta and Cecilia Ramamboti Cecilia Aputu Miss Aputu Simon Cecilia and Makarere Business School. South Sudan Student Association President, Hani the student Amadi Talaka Makare Business School Agara DA, Masadi Palaka Kana Dipenjani. Ms. Cecilia, welcome to Madi TV. I would like to welcome you highly, and I would like to give you this opportunity to briefly introduce yourself to our audience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really feel humbled. So, my name is Aputu Cecilia Simon Lucky, a South Sudanese student and a refugee currently studying in Makerere University Business School, pursuing a bachelor's degree in real estate management, and also the current president of the Makerere University Business School South Sudanese Students Association. So I actually came to Uganda way back in 2011 um, due to the need for better education. Yeah, all was actually well until 2016 when the war broke out. So that was also the time when I had finished my P7. And 2017, I was supposed to join a secondary level. So things became a bit tough. So my guardian, who was supporting me, uh, made a choice of my cousins and I to go to the camp and continue with our education from there. While there things were really very tough, yeah, because I was a bit used to now the boarding life, and I was not seeing myself deviating from my goal, because I felt like going there was going to really, hinder me from achieving what I really wanted to become, the real estate manager that I want, because life was going to be very difficult and all that. So being in the camp was really not an easy life. I remember a time when we were very many in class, like we had like two streams, and then but those two streams were really filled up with very many students. So we had this slogan of first come, first serve. So if you came earlier, you would enter class and then attend lessons from there. But then if you came late, you had to peep through the window in order to attend to those lectures. So I kept on praying to God, because I felt that is really not the life I wanted. I wanted to continue with my education in Kampala. So from there, I prayed to God, and the good thing was that before I actually went to the camp, I had applied for some scholarship opportunity in Kampala. So from there, after 3 weeks of studying my senior one in the camp that was Valley View, my cousin brother calls me that, oh, Cecilia, actually you succeeded. So I was very excited, and the following morning I had to travel there, and that's when I came back to Kampala to continue with my my O level from there. So when I finished, again things toughened a bit. Life became
Can I stop you for a while? I would prefer we talk about your struggle later on. I just gave you time to briefly talk about who you are. Uh, you make it very clear that you are the president, the current president of Makerere University Business School, South Sudan Student Association. That is a very big title. And I want to ask you the next question basing on that. Seeing yourself as someone who grew up in the refugee camps, and seeing yourself someone who is coming war devastated country, South Sudan, where we all came from. What are the biggest challenges of obstacle preventing female students from pursuing their education like you in South Sudan today?
Okay, thank you again. I think one of the biggest challenges that we are facing in our country is still the lack of awareness about the importance of education. If you look back to our home, you find out that there are still very many communities who still believe that education is really not relevant, especially for the girl child. You see? So they look at education as a minor thing. And then the other thing is also poverty. Most of our parents don't really have, the money to take their children to school, and that is something that is becoming challenging in our country. And also the facilities, we find out that most of the facilities were really destroyed during the war. So that is really a very big challenge for us. And then maybe what I can add to that is also the lack of qualified teachers in our country. It is really very touching that, we have this belief that the students that have studied from Uganda and maybe have completed senior 4, because they can really speak English so well, they feel like when they go there and apply for a teaching job, they can actually be given because they know how to speak the English. But to me, I feel like teaching goes just beyond knowing how to speak, knowing how to write, because there are so many things that you really need to be equipped with. You should be well trained in order to become a teacher. And also, most of the teachers that we have there, you find out that the ratio of students to teachers, it could be one student to about like 77 students, So meaning that we have very few teachers that are teaching our students back home.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. You talk about being the student president. This is a very big institution. You are incumbent upon yourself the leadership that is very huge. You also talk about pursuing real estate management. This is something that many people do not hear before. How do you feel at this young age taking the responsibility of becoming Makerere University Business School South Sudan Student Association? I know South Sudan is a diverse country with a lot of tribes. How are you going to manage this at this young age?
Well, to me, I feel like leadership is a calling. And the mere fact that I studied from a leadership school, I was already well equipped with the leadership roles, and then the abilities. I was mentored on that. And then the other thing is, I think the most thing that really motivated me so much to, take up this leadership role was the lack of representation. And of course, based still on this question, I know that with the leadership, it's not just a one person thing. Like, I'm going to work hand in hand with obviously my cabinet members, and also engaging the like our followers to work hand in hand with us for us to achieve a greater goal.
Anya Americari, Amate Studio Gary, Amamvoti Cecilia, Cecilia, President is South Sudan Student Association of Makerere University Business School. And the current president Kaptali Holt, Amatanzani to Maritazira Laka challenges the Bachira Madi South Sudan Gary Kifes education pursuit further return. So Cecilia and Between will be able to break 3 point in Madi here and there, but I'm trying just to elaborate on what you said. The next question I will put before you is a question of female student compared to boy students. There could be a lot of challenges when you look at the general situation in South Sudan. Child marriage is there. That means boys have the chance to pursue their education, but girls could be dropping out from school at the earliest stage. So, what are the challenges facing the female student compared to boy student? And in your leadership as a role model, how are you going to pursue to address this issue of girl child education challenges?
Okay, thank you once again. Um, to me, basically, I think one of the biggest challenges that we have is, the burden of a housework, compared to the boy child. You find out that for we, the females, as long as you've reached a certain age where your parents feel that, yeah, you can now take up certain responsibilities. So before you actually go to school, you're supposed to first clean the house, you're supposed to wash dishes, you're supposed to do this and that. You're supposed to take your siblings to school before you actually go to school. And then the other thing is the lack of basic needs, some necessities. So those things really hinder us a lot, because when you enter class and you get to realize that there are so many things that are really not going right, you end up losing concentration in a class. You get, so that thing really makes us to divert. It diverts our minds from concentrating. As teachers teaching for you, thinking of other things. And as you mentioned of the early marriages, it is very true. Some of our parents still believe that education is really not not good for the girl child. It is actually a waste of time. So they feel investing in the girl child is really something that is not very important. and then in the long run, a girl child will just drop out because of the lack of necessities, and then from there you end up being forced to go and marry. Yeah, I can actually give an example on that. I remember when I went back home in 2021. I was working somewhere in a certain shop, and then one of the customers came in and they were having a conversation with him. And then he asked me that, oh, so are you married? I told him that, no, I'm still schooling. Then he was like, what, at this age, what are you waiting for? Don't you think that you're growing old? So to them, they feel like when you reach a certain age, you're supposed to now get married. Because when you just stay like that, it is like you're going to lose market. That is something that most of our parents really think, that's really something that they feel it's not necessary to educate the girl child. And being the president of the South Sudanese Students Association, what I can really say is that we really need to encourage, we need to encourage the girl child that they can as well do it, you see. And then the other thing is, I'm so happy that right now in so many boarding schools, not even just boarding schools, actually every primary or secondary school, there are always those visitation days, you know. So they call parents one on one and they have a conversation with the teacher plus the child together. So they get to discuss what is it that is making Cecilia not to perform very well. So in case the parent was maybe if in case the parent has been overloading their child with a lot of work at home, so they can be able to talk about that, you see. And that is something that I feel is really very good, because parents get to be educated on certain things, that we don't need to be overloaded with the certain responsibilities, because we need also much time for our books, just like the way the boy child also needs. Thank you.
You need much time for your books is the challenges. When you look at the South Sudan, not only South Sudan alone, in the region where we are all coming from, including Uganda, but in South Sudan is being described as a country being dominated by men. They take women to be like inferior. So I want to ask you, how did you beat these norms or societal norms to become the South Sudan Makerere University Business School of South Sudan Student Association? How did you emerge to become the president in the world where men are seen to be the leaders?
That is really very right. Our country is really male dominated. That is very true. As for me, I think I just had a very different perspective about myself. I felt I was born a leader, yeah, and I know I can really lead. And in my leadership, I actually had this support from my friends. They didn't really intimidate my leadership. Instead, they kept on encouraging me. But then at some point though, um, because it is something that now is deeply rooted within us, even with the female students now, we have it within us that we cannot really lead, because it is a culture that that has been there for long. And I feel like it is now a belief that we women, we cannot really lead. And even now that thing is making even the fellow women not to also elect their fellows to what lead them, because they feel like, what can Cecilia do at some point? And that is the reason as why when a female leader tries to rise up, she fails, even when there are actually more females in that association or maybe in the school. You fail. Why? Because we also have believed that we cannot really lead well. But to me, I feel like that shouldn't really be the thing, because leadership is a calling. And if we say that in families, mothers are supposed to lead. In families, everyone has a responsibility. The father has a responsibility and the mother has a responsibility. Then why not in the association? Why not in schools? Why not in the government? All of us need that. We need that kind of balance, because we have different ways of thinking. And if we can bring those different ideas from the male side and from the female, then we can be able to make the world a better place for us. So I've really never felt like I'm not worth leading. That's why I really went for that position.
After winning the election just 2 months ago, and then you became the president of Makerere Business or Makerere University Business School South Sudan Student Association. Do you still face challenges from male students?
Okay. I've really not yet started. I've not yet started feeling much of that, but I think the biggest one is I don't know if I should say sexual harassment or what, but there is that kind of feeling when you're holding a higher position. There is a way many leaders from other associations, okay, the South Sudanese Students Association, but from other universities, when you come together, they feel like, yeah, I think I need to hook up with this one. You get so they feel like now it is an opportunity maybe for them to create an opportunity. Sorry, for them to engage with
Take
you
advantage of.
to enter into an intimate relationship with you and all that. So, but aside from that, I don't think I'm really facing a lot of challenges from my yeah from the male gender.
Leadership comes always with a huge responsibility. How are you going to couple up with this leadership and then plus your book? How are you going to double the two together? How are you going to manage them?
Thank you. As you have said, leadership really comes with a lot of responsibilities, and that's why there is also delegation. And that is the reason as why in an association, oh yeah, like it's not just all about me. I also have people that I work with. So obviously, in the different leadership roles, in the different capacities, I believe that everyone there has a role to play. So I can't take all the burden to myself. If I feel like maybe there are certain things that need to be done, I can take my portion and also delegate some of the things to my fellows. I have a vice, so we can share those responsibilities with him. I have a secretary, he has a role to play. I also have the speaker, he has a role to play. So we can work hand in hand with them to make sure that we make the association a better place for us.
Anya America Yamato Studio Agara Mamboti Cecilia Aputo and Madiziko and President currently hold the position President CD of Vado Makerere University Business School of South Sudanese Student Association. Amata is one to challenges lossi in John Ziki face Fongi Garidiga Mata is one to challenges lossy or cookie race to the leadership going on Yabati. Amizota to ndole losi vuamadi South Sudan ne ani nyesua vulaka gola kolo comediga ni ridiga or kata debati address this jolo singine comment section kata sirela kanya siwa la zisange zela kawa ongomani otelo stana nzela kabaz bati motivate manzo anyo kwasi taribati follow kasi kata jemariti scenario kwane marizi kosi manzo anyo kwasi Cecilia, I would like to ask you more question about your personal motivation or maybe inspiration. I know you came from South Sudan Leadership Academy, South Sudan Leadership Academy based in Nimule. This is a relatively renowned school, although it is a school of excellency. It produces a lot of quality students. I knew about 4 or 5 students who came from there, and today they are living as leaders or role model. Where do you get your motivation from? Is it from South Sudan Academy, Leadership Academy in Nimole, or you are just born to be a leader?
I think my first motivation came in from Leadership Academy of South Sudan, which we abbreviated as LAS. So as you said, Leadership Academy of South Sudan is found in Nimule, basically Anzara. So before, I used to have this urge to lead others, but I really had uh, struggles with the fear, you know. To compete with someone was something that wasn't really so easy. But then when I joined the Leadership Academy of South Sudan, as you hear in Leadership Academy of South Sudan, it means that they are trying to groom up future leaders of South Sudan. So whether you liked it or not, you had to be a leader. Everyone was treated as a leader. They believe that when you're there, you're not supposed to, be told certain things because they believe that you're a leader and you know what you're supposed to do. Whether you like it or not, you had to hold a position, you had to stand up and take up a position. You had to compete with someone. So like that thing helped me so much to fight my fears. And when I joined university, I felt I got the opportunity to be mentored. And not only that, up to now, they continue to mentor us, they continue to encourage us, they continue to support us emotionally and even sometimes financially, for you to take up leadership roles in the different institutions that we are in. So, but the other thing, I also had another thing that really made me to take up this leadership role was, the lack of representation in the association. I think there has really never been a female president. So I felt like if I served the ones and I was able to do it, why not take up this leadership role? And the funniest thing is, most of us really feared to take up leadership. We feel like the only thing we want is to just to study, and that is it. And yet we are fighting. Sorry, we are crying that we don't have good leaders in South Sudan and we don't have this. So if we don't rise up, who is going to do it? If we don't take up this, if we don't challenge ourselves, who is going to do it? So the main thing was that lack of representation, the girl child. So I felt I really needed to also stand up and take up that role. And that's why I applied for the position. And God willingly, I was able to be elected as the president of the South Sudanese Students Association.
Thank you. I would like you to take us through the challenges and criticisms. I know we are coming from society where people believe women cannot arise to the leadership, where people believe leadership is only for men. This could also come from within the family, from peers groups, or from the people around us. How did you overcome the challenges and become what you are today, when you want to campaign to become the South Sudan Student Association president of Makerere Business School?
Thank you once again. So basically for me, I think I love to surround myself with the positive people. And the other thing is, maybe maybe God is, maybe my life is a bit different, because from my family I've really had the support, because they have seen that capability in me. So every time that I try to take up a leadership role, they always encourage me to take it up. And also, I have some friends of mine whom I finished with from the Leadership Academy of South Sudan. So during my time of service there, they saw my abilities and they were really able to support me. They actually influenced the other students to support me. And also, when I was just a member, uh, when I was still a member of the association, I used to serve. Much as I didn't have the leadership role, I served in silence. You get, so that thing helped. That thing really helped me a lot, and people were able to really support me. They motivated me instead to go out to go for that leadership. But the only challenge that I really faced was, I think, the level of education, because the constitution stated that only president can come from second year, and I was still in first year. So it was really a challenge for me, because people had to first sit down and discuss about that. So that was the challenge that I had. But above it all, they came to a resolution that whether you're whether you're in year one or year two, as long as you have the zeal, you have the love to lead others, you have the capabilities, you can take up that leadership role. Thank you.
Women rising into the power of the leadership remained the global problems. For instance, the US election concluded just in January. We see Kamala was mostly not elected to become the US president because most Americans believe that a female president cannot lead the nation. This could also be the problem of South Sudan, or the problem of the society where we are coming from. You said you have not seen harassments. Maybe there are few people from other associations who want to take advantage of using you to maybe to hook up with you. And so we cannot predict future, what future hold, what is going to come. We cannot see it from now. In case of anything that is going to arise in future, as the president of South Sudan Student Association of Makara Business School, how are you going to overcome any challenges or any person who's going to challenge your leadership simply because you're a leader? I mean, you're female.
Well, like where we are now, we are dealing with the very mature people. It is true that I have the authority, and I can actually be able maybe to report that student to the to the guild of sorry to the guild cabinet, or maybe to the dean of students. But the best way I feel I can do that is I would really love my actions actually to speak for me. When you do great things, people who even had negative attitude towards you will see the goodness. And I believe that when I do well, I'll be also giving opportunity, or I'll be opening up opportunities for other fellow uh, for other fellow females to rise up for this leadership, and the male gender will not be able to question them. So now the ball is in my hands to work very hard and do the needful and lift up the association, because now it is not about me, it is about the next leaders that are going to come, the next female leaders that are going to come.
Globally, we have seen there are challenges that the female leaders face in a country like South Sudan, or maybe in the part of Uganda or elsewhere. It remains very big challenges. And how are you going to use your role as South Sudan Student Association of Makara Business School to correct these stereotypes? Like you mentioned, okay, in our societies, boys are favored, girls are supposed to be not going to school, or maybe when you come from school, instead of going for your books, you'll be given house chore to do. How are you going to reach to high level to try to influence things so that these stereotypes or societal norms that women cannot go to school, women cannot be in the leadership role, how are you going to use your power to influence this at a high level? Because in a country like South Sudan, if you begin to talk about like that, you are most likely going to risk your life to be killed.
Yeah, thank you so much for this again. So, um, you see, in the association, we have different students, and as you've said, in Uganda, in South Sudan, and elsewhere. So we have different people. I know that I may not be able to really go straight and speak to someone, but I would really love to first start with the people that are near me. If I can be able to mentor them, if I can be able to encourage them that yes, you can actually do this, that yes, you can actually maybe perform, that yes, you can maybe be supported. Like there are some students who actually lack school fees, you get. But then, like as the president, sometimes you have to go an extra mile and lobby for the finances so that this person can continue with her school. Sometimes you have to come up with some creative ideas on how you can raise money for the association so that students can be able to continue with their education. Sometimes you have to go an extra mile and even call mentors to mentor these students. And even there are also other scholarship opportunities that that some of us really know. Like for me, there are some platforms whereby they advertise scholarship opportunities. So if I can really be able to do that to the people who are within the South Sudanese Students Association, I believe that these students have sisters, and when they go back, they can also be able to share those ideas with their sisters. They can be able to share with their families. And I'm also not planning to, of course, to do this on my own. When we talk about South Sudanese Students Association, it's a very big thing because every university has a leader there. So it is now upon us to come together and make sure that we really bring that kind of unity amongst us and try to solve such problems.
Thank you very much for elaborating that into details. Sanyamanda Kari Yamato Studio Agara Aputu Cecilia Aputu and South Sudan Student Association from Makara Business School. Amata izwane to leadership role diga amata izwane to challenges. Injon tiki fesi afongia niga ani president student association di Makara Business School gari mas yana lazima zirela karidi ana leadership ni kemke ibuadi ngani ya ta influence to ndejadu changes ke muwa sini jom jamari chiri kom du fongi ga manjo anya kwasi angelo sinika korona mane imbatu there is a program charity dini dele pagering refugee camps ama for pagering refugees camp ka ba di eleka pelo samailu foka joleri vulnerable extremely vulnerable groups na di bamba jale go ko sala sibazba ti ba chiri di yo suki kongi kore ama for any gango da inasi limba kore lo sama any fora ko digeto lo sama any sabuni ko digeto disi jongile program adi mari tv di support lera charity organization ado event di nyimo amadi group page ga ama memo ado mobile money account a kongi nya kala waringi kala ka jongile lazi a nyamba ondoganu ngwewa manjo anya posi program lo sodi folokasi karadi tadikem ka kare duodu mudulimbi di chalosi impatu deridi pagering a refugees camp ga ami work with the OPM to see into it that we get all the papers needed so that also on that day we are going to hold the 2 football match competition between the youth from Pagering and refugee camps manjo anya posi. Okay, back at oh sorry. I'm getting lost because I'm most likely going to ask you, Madi, and likely you're not going to be able to understand anything. I would like to ask you much more about. I know when a leader comes to power, they set they normal set goal to achieve. So during your leadership time, maybe from the previous leadership, things might have not worked according to your vision. What do you want to achieve in the next 3 coming years as you are taking the leadership roles of Makara Business School of South Sudanese Student Association? What do you want to achieve?
I think the thing that I would really love to achieve is creating that kind of the unity and breaking that barrier between the male and female, where the male gender feels like the female gender cannot actually lead them, and or maybe like they are meant for the lower positions. That is something that I would really love to achieve so much. And then the other thing is ensuring academic excellency. Obviously, that will be through availing the students with all the resources that are needed, maybe also lobbying for money, especially for the students that really lack tuition. I know there are moments whereby, honestly, there are some students who really lose hope when it is time for, like, for instance, towards examination. I had these students who were about to really, who were about to be sent home, and the one was a finalist. So he really he was like, oh my god, Cecilia, you really need to help me out. What am I going to do and all that? So we had to fight for that student. We had to look for all ways possible to make sure that at least he got the money that he needed. He completed his tuition. And then also providing students with like bringing people from out that are well equipped to the leadership, and mentor us, yeah. So we see that there are so many people who have the capabilities. They feel like they have the ability to lead, but they do not know how to do it. But I do believe that when we bring people from outside to speak to them, then they can be able to know what they are supposed to do in the different leadership roles that they would maybe wish to 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 go for.
Cecilia, while we are talking about the president of Makara University Business School of South Sudan Student Association, this is not a very small position. Over the years, we have seen students South Sudanese students in Zimbabwe, in Egypt, they could have gone there maybe under the government scholarship or maybe under the scholarship of the host nations. So if there is anything going to be like that from your institution, you are the responsible person to reach out to the government of South Sudan's embassy in Kampala. Do you have link with the embassy of South Sudan in Kampala?
Yes, I do have. Actually, I visited them last semester. That was around May there. Yes.
And did you get the support that you went for?
Not really. I didn't get that support because I felt it was a bit too abrupt.
Hmm.
Yes, it was too abrupt. And also when you look at the situation of our country, we are really facing financial challenges. So I didn't really blame them so much for not helping us out because we we went for help when it was already like too late. And yeah, that's why we didn't get the help. But I have that belief that in time to come, maybe all will go on well between the association and the embassy, and we shall surely get the help that we need from them.
Okay. I would like to stress this. I mean, we are coming from a society where mindset is set. Once a person has set his mind or her mind, they are not easy to be changed. So we have a society that whose mindset is that women cannot be leaders. Women are born to be housekeeper. Women are going to take care of kids. So after when you become a leader, do you think the mindset of this society has changed now to view women holding very powerful position or not?
Well, okay, leadership is something that I'm still pursuing. Yeah, it's something that I'm still in. So I really can't tell whether my leadership has changed so many of the people's mindset towards female leadership, but I'm looking forward to that. And I do have that belief that with the things I'm going to do, with of course together with my cabinet members, that we shall really bring that kind of change that even women can as well lead. And the leadership is a calling from God. When it comes to leadership, there's nothing like gender, as long as you have the ability. Because honestly, if you look at the current education system, like we don't have subjects that are basically meant for the male students, or these that are made for the female. No. Nowadays, when you're in A level, the male can do history, can do divinity, can do entrepreneurship. Female students can as well do that. When you talk of maybe biology, chemistry, and the mathematics, females can also do that. So I feel like there is that kind of change now, because in classes, actually there are some classes whereby females are the ones leading in academics. You get? So if we can as well do that, then why not? I do believe that the only thing that has been really hindering us, or has been making our fathers from believing that females can change, is because of the primitive mindset, the culture, and all. But now education is trying to change our mindset. It's trying to change our brothers, that even leaders, oh okay, even females can as well do what they can do.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is going to be as much about inspiring other people. What message do you think your story can send to a girl who is sitting in South Sudan in the displacement camp, a girl who is sitting in MVP refugee camp, a girl who is in BDBD refugee camp, whose aspiration is dying because they don't see any bright future? What message do you think your story is sending to them uh, to feel that there is no limit, that girls can also make it to the high leadership position? And how would you like to inspire them?
Well, my message can really be so simple. What I can say is, your dream is still valid, and life isn't an easy thing. Of course, people will always talk, but you need to believe in yourself. You don't need to allow someone to define who you are, to tell you what you're supposed to be. No one should intimidate you. You have to stand tall. You have to stand strong for yourself and listen to your voice, your inner voice. Speak up, because I know that deep down you have greater ideas that can change our nation, that can change where you are. And the reality is that, when a female actually steps up for a leadership role, she can be opening so many doors for others. So you don't need to allow fears to stop you from achieving what you want. You can do it, and just believe in yourself. That's what I can really say.
I'm one of the person who have endured the life in the refugee camp in Gujebe, Alere, in 90s. And I was one of the students who started Alere SS. When we started Alere SS in 1992, the number of senior one was more than almost going to 400. We have class one, A, B, C, D. Still, the room was not enough. So the school administration with British High Commissioner Barry Sesson came out with a plan to screen the students so that female students can be given more chance. I was one of the boys who was uh, removed so that girls students can take our position. They created a class called Zero Class. Zero Class was between P7 and Senior 1. Actually, it does not exist. When you are called Zero Class, that means you are not existing. So it's a kind of degrading you. It's a kind of making you to feel belittled. I don't know whose plan was that, but despite the fact of all this, I was able to go for 1 year in that Zero Class, and I was able to challenge them when they brought the exam from Kampala. It was a kind of exam between senior one and primary sevens. So I passed highly. I got 779 out of 100. That's how they give the marks. And I was able to join senior one in Atlanta and then until I finished in 95. And so a girl or maybe a boy who is in a refugee camp, a boy who is not even a refugee camp. I know both national and the refugees are going through the same situation always in the northern part of Uganda, and across South Sudan. How are you going to tell them that there is always going to be another tomorrow? They should look beyond their challenge. How are you going to convince them? Because I mean, you are telling me your stories of being in the refugee camp.
Yeah, well, one thing we have to know about life is not easy. Life is always hard. But how you take the negative challenges matters. If you see it as an opportunity for you, well and good. But now, if you make it to suppress what you have within you, the power that you have, then that is going to be a very big challenge. Yeah, I've been in the camp, and as I was trying to narrate, where were really very many, and then if you came early, you would sit in class and attend to the lessons. But if you came late, you would have to what to peep through the window in order to attend to those lectures. So I didn't really give up because I knew what I was fighting for. I knew what I wanted, and what I can just say is life is always not easy, but you have to put in your best to emerge victorious. Because if we keep on telling ourselves that, yeah, I can't do it, um, maybe I come from this background and all that, we can't allow our backgrounds to define who we are. Because I believe that we are better than that. And the beauty with it is that when you put in your efforts, nowadays there are people who are willing to push us ahead. There are scholarship opportunities. But by the time you really get that opportunity, you should be somewhere. I had to really struggle with my O level, and that's when God opened for me a door when I was now joining A level to get an opportunity. And that is the same scholarship that is currently uh, paying me. Like it's the one that is sponsoring me in the university. So let us assume that I had given up. That was going to be the end. So what I can tell my brothers and sisters in the camp is that things are really not easy, but we have to go beyond that. We always have to have that hope, that belief that there is a better tomorrow. And in order for us to make tomorrow better is when we overcome the challenges that we are in, when we accept the reality that we have to work harder.
So what you are saying is we should not allow uh, our background to define what we are. There is always another tomorrow. There's going to be another better chance. Even if you wake up at the wrong side of the bed, God is going to be there. I mean, you not include God, but I would like to add put God first in all this because challenges are going to be everywhere. I really appreciate that part of the point that you are trying to stress. And I would like to ask you much more about what do you think the institutions that are inside and outside the South Sudan and Uganda can do to see into it that more women are trained to become leaders like you?
Well, institutions really have a critical role to play. What I can say is they should really be very intentional. Like, for instance, offering scholarship opportunities for the females so that they can be able to access education. And then the other thing is leadership trainings. Yeah. So that's the females are equipped with the knowledge and the skills to lead, and then also offering career guidance. To me, I feel sometimes the reason as why some of us back off from education is because we don't know what we are actually looking for. You're there studying, but you don't know what you're studying for. Maybe some of us are just, even up to now, I believe there are some of us who are in a class because our parents have told us to be there, because your parent has told you that you have to be a doctor, because your parent has told you that you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a real estate manager. That's why you're there. But you don't even know what you're going to do afterwards. So if we can actually be, if the institution can offer those kind of like career guidance, it would be also a good thing. And then the other thing is, creating policies that empower women to take up leadership roles in schools. Yeah, I think that's what I can say about the institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are almost coming to an end of this interview. But before that, I would like to ask you one more question, and then I will give you the chance to give your last words. One of the things that I would like to ask you to maybe emphasize much more about is in 90s when I was in a Lara refugee camp, as I told you, life was so difficult. If you're lucky to have Belila, I guess you understand Belila because you speak Arabic. Belila is something that maize boiled together with the janjaro, and sometimes if you're lucky, there is a salt, there is oil in it, so that tastes nice. When you take that, you are lucky. I have seen so many boys of my age now they become grandfather today. Before the time they could become grandfather, I have seen girls who drop out from school uh, looking for alternative to survive by getting married to boys who are very irresponsible. So, what are your messages to the girls, given that we are coming from society where people believe when a girl begins to develop breasts, this is ready to be married? Your parents and the people around you are pursuing you, they are pushing you to get married. What kind of messages do you want to give to ladies who are trying to drop out from the school in the refugee camp in the national area because of hardship their parents could not afford, and they wanted to uh, substitute that with marriage? Normally, I refer to people when I'm talking to young people. I said Uneducated person is like when you wake up in the morning before you wash your face, you look quite different. For example, you the ladies, if you wake up early in the morning, you can clean yourself, put a little bit of makeup, dress well, apply a little bit of lotion, and then you begin to see yourself. Somebody who has not gone to school is like a person who woke up in the morning, does not wash his face or her face. But when you wake up in the morning, you wash yourself, you clean yourself, you look like that. That is what education offers. So what kind of message do you want to give to this kind of lady who are thinking now because of hardship, they wanted to quit school, going for marriage?
Actually, that's something that is a question that has always been ringing in my mind. Like, I've had this. I have friends. Actually, let me say, most of my friends that I studied with way back in South Sudan, most of them are really married right now. And every time that I go to the camp, I get an opportunity to speak to these girls. I tell them, yeah, you're suffering right now, but do you really think that marriage is the solution to it? It's a question that I also ask myself, that if at all I really drop out of school, would really marriage be the first option for me? Of course not. Because if I'm suffering right now, it means I cannot be able to provide for myself my own needs. And now, if I have a child, how can I now provide needs for two people? To me, I feel that is really like you're adding a problem to another problem that you're already facing. So you first deal with that problem. Marriage will not run. You need to just be calm. And you need to also believe in God. You have to be a Christian in order to do that. You need to be patient. You need to you need to be creative enough. Because for me, when I got this scholarship opportunity with Lead for Africa, yeah, they sponsor the tuition and your accommodation and all that, but there are moments, okay, not just moments, but I had to look for my transport. I had to look for my upkeep, you know. So I feel like sometimes if you want to achieve greater things, you need to work hard for them. Because every successful person, of course, there are few that might not have suffered because their parents did it for them. But most of the successful people that you see, they have sad stories within them. So if you really feel that honestly marrying or marriage is the best way to solve your current problems, then you're mistaken. For our parents are relying on us. They believe that we are their investment right now. They believe that we are the ones who are going to actually change the situation at home. So if you feel that marriage is the solution that you're going to have, if you feel that honestly you want to be that uneducated mother to your child, then it will really be heartbreaking. So just try to be patient, try to pray to God, and try to work hard. There are better opportunities ahead. And also you need to, like every opportunity that it comes in the camp where there are soft skills or hard skills to be learned, you try to expose yourself to that. Give yourself that opportunity to learn new things so that you can earn something and be able to provide yourself with the necessities that you need. But I would also urge our parents to really stop putting pressure on us, yeah, especially the female. Yeah, this pressure of now you're old and all that. Those are some of the things that force us. Actually, to me, I feel most of the females actually go for marriages, not that they really want, but because of the suppression from home. That pressure from home is what really makes some of them to actually go for marriage. So if our parents can really try to motivate us a bit, to encourage us, that despite the hard situation we are in right now, there is a better tomorrow. I think that thing can also hold us on, can help us to, create that kind of patience within. So, yeah.
Anjo posi marima ma amba olkosa mu amadi studio arisi let your ve nyeswa njonjo amadi daro sokara nyeswa zali bajo surangi su atako jo ko sende kora zali kole ko durupi akoga ko sangi su enjoy is losi fongi gare batika si challenges facing just ni su kora jo no durupi aneka andalo se surake amamboti ojo kola ba kondeta beyond that ba tikere kola ki press ba chiri badiko jongi duru lo se su ade ni baba kola dunia kwena sinye i challenger in legacy. So our Katareba Tinja already summarized now. Cecilia, there is a question from my public. As I told you that our viewers are from different places. A comment from Aloma Nicodemus from America. He said, nice to hear from you all. Ojaba Ojaba James Lagu. One of the viewers said this is a challenge in your office, not only for the students, Gillian office. How can you manage such at your capacity? I am not so sure what specific question he was asking, but the question I wanted to direct you is this one here. It says, thank you, Aputu, for the song. My concern is in the lines of scholarship. In Uganda, scholarship is dominated by district leaders' children, politicians, and government officials just because they use their power to secure such opportunities for the children instead of the needy. Kindly elaborate more on such injustice and how can such injustice be a bridge to ensure that the poor also benefit from such opportunity. I know that the person who asked the question is trying to center specifically in Uganda, but this is also situation in South Sudan. I think the situation is the same. You can give us an answer based on your experience from South Sudan.
Okay. So about that, it is true that there are some scholarship opportunities that really come up, and they are basically meant um, for the needy. But then you find out that even the rich get access to them. Like or maybe to cover the whole region, like specifically when we look at South Sudan, the lead for Africa, like its major aim is to cover to reach out to the whole of South Sudan, like the different tribes, the 64 tribes. But then you find out that from a certain region, let us say the central or maybe the Podulu tribe, maybe there are 4 people picked, and then like maybe from the Dinka, because Dinkas are a bit very many, so they can pick like maybe 8 or 10. So that one becomes really challenging because at the end of the day they are picking like about 60 students. So meaning if you picked 8 from Jongole, from Podulu and all that, it means that the other tribes like the Shuluk will not get the opportunity. So to me, I feel like uh, first and foremost, we have to really, show up. Yeah, we have to show up. Um, yeah, we have to show up for those, apply for the scholarship, and then like for okay for the case of the maybe the cheating that goes on, like such officials can also be reported. Yeah. But as the leaders, obviously, now we have to use our voices to stand up for our students, to stand up for those that are really in need, so that they get them.
To stand up for those in need, that is going to be a very big challenge, I know, because I mean, squirrel cannot fight with an elephant. Those people in the leadership role, they have the ability, they have the authorities to do whatever they want, but there is going to be a time for all those things those injustices to be brought to just. So, Cecilia, I want to give this opportunity for you to now give your final words, your recommendations, your advice based on what we discussed here this afternoon. And from public, I cannot see any further question. I don't get question from YouTube, only on Facebook page. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much once again. So what I can finally say is life is hard. Life is really, really hard. And like basically for me, things have really not been so easy. Like with the leadership, there are moments where you want to rise up, but then you have that kind of fear within you, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being judged, that you're a female and you can't do it, the fear of not being enough. But above all, I had to overcome all those. So to the girls out there, and even to the boys as well, I just want you to believe in yourself. I want you to know that amidst everything, when you believe in yourself and you work hard and you're determined, then you can do it. And you always bear in mind that an educated woman is a force of change in our nation. That's what I can say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunities and thank you for showing up. I hope this is not going to be the last time for you to come to Madi TV. We would always be open to host you and to give you the opportunity to come and inspire young people. And I know the role of being a leader is not so easy. My prayer and my hope is that as you pursue these leaders' roles, may the Lord God give you the courage, may the Lord God give you the strength so that you're able to continue to lead both men and female in this institution. It is a very broad institution. It is not something that is very small. So I pray that things will go well with you. So thank you very much. Okay. Anya mande kala semari TV gare male manjo angi down zidu tia mi bulere and loss bas ba tia biga salira ki ane losses batisbe jika kare mi biga ya knowledge ni se kabato so madizi subject ngwala dia ke muka dini kwa ba madini wadiani amani i tia na jolere choka choli ki josa mama dia choli ti jore sura kaba ani hosidia jongelo bari josa ani saunzi komanzo hanyo posi amate studio ya mamvo ti Cecilia Simon Aputoi anko maru ni Garrison amuda de jibangi to tok sobadi enduratini aserega manjo anyo posimadi TV ngale kando sifuapi ngai follow
Madi TV.